I like that there's that delay there. I'll have to edit out now. I wouldn't have to edit otherwise. Man. All right, everybody, welcome to part 2 of the Hackintosh build.
Oh my gosh!
So, if you
Don't talk to me right now.
Brian is working delicately to install a nice CPU cooler that is about the size of a car radiator, so it's a little difficult to get in there with the RAM and everything.
These little screws are spring-loaded. Why on earth would you put industrial? They look like car shocks, and you're putting them next to an i7 processor.
It's in case I go off-roading with the
and like fancy RAM and lots of little integrated circuits that look like a pretty little city.
I want to go four-wheeling.
So if you accidentally touch any of it, you destroy it.
So the idea with the big cooler is
why is it loaded on a spring?
I don't know. I don't know what the point of that is. But the idea is to get lots of cooling in there because I'm going to jack the processor up to around 4 gigahertz eventually. So if you missed last episode, the build kind of ended with things not booting yet. Since that time, we've got a bootable Hackintosh system here. To recap, it is a Core i7 rig that we're building. And
oh, look at that.
Does it work fine without the spring? I mean, what is the purpose of the spring? There must be a...
No, if you check it out, it needs either the spring or it needs a completely different size screw with a washer. See, the spring actually acts as a washer.
Makes sense, okay.
No, it doesn't make sense. These engineers are crazy and mean.
I got Arctic Silver all over my hands. So, we're building a Hackintosh, a sort of a journalistic educational thing. We don't recommend you do it at home. But if you do, I always encourage the people to try to do things as legally as possible because there's still some gray area. But buy the software, buy Mac OS X, and use the retail DVD. Don't download some hacked version where you don't know what's been injected into the kernel and things like that. So this is a Hackintosh. It's using a Snow Leopard retail DVD install. Its purpose is going to be for Final Cut editing to see if it's journalistically possible from an educational standpoint. Now, last episode the machine would not boot. And since then, it not only boots, but has been running for a few weeks in production without any problems. We've got a hard drive RAID in here. In fact, I've got a spec list. Jeremy, if you've got that handy, maybe I'll throw that up. For the spec list, so we've got a Core i7 920 processor. We have an NVIDIA 9800 GTX, which an NVIDIA is an important part. Why is it not going in?
It'd be great. Do we have like a camera or like a little video thing? Because it'd be awesome if I could show you guys.
We did. I didn't hook it up, though.
This is in here.
I'm sorry.
There is about a 1/4 of an inch to stick my finger between an i7 processor, the heatsink, and RAM.
Yeah, and
that's on the easy to screw in one.
See, since the fans are on there, we can pop the RAM out for now.
All right, let's get those out of there. Look if you have any ideas.
So I'll take the RAM out. So the spec list, I went with the NVIDIA card because one of the things if you're doing any kind of Final Cut editing is Final Cut requires what's called Quartz Extreme Acceleration. So that means that you have to have a GPU, a graphics card that's fully supported with all working 3D acceleration. So I went with the NVIDIA 9800 series on an OS X machine because that's generally considered to work pretty good. Now, on top of that, the other thing that's really important is your motherboard, and I went with a Gigabyte UDP4. There's also a UDP5 and UDP3 variation that are known to work really well with OS X. It's if you want to go Core i7. It's an X58 chipset. And there's also like the Asus P6T Deluxe and things like that that are also supposed to work pretty well. Other than that, it's kind of just a stock machine. I threw the spec list up there a little earlier, but you saw it's got a little RAID for editing on. The RAID is software-based because I didn't really look into hardware RAID, but I hear high-point controllers are working really well. Now, while Brian assembles the machine, the last part of the machine is the CPU cooler. I'll talk a little bit about what I did to get it booting. Last episode, I tried to use a couple different tutorials to make it boot correctly. Not happening? Is it just not doable? I mean, maybe
I took the spring off.
Yeah.
Goes all the way down. That sucker is different size than the threads that are down there.
How can it be?
I don't know. It's probably magic. Some sort of a magical leprechaun monkey snuck in here and.
Really? Those leprechauns.
Yeah, that's. Go ahead and give it a try yourself.
No,
don't try it. Try it. I want independent confirmation. Stick your fingers in there.
Well, let's pull this out. So this is the cooler.
Yeah, that's the tower of a cooler. That's impressive. See how I'm coming against?
Is it? What's up with that?
That's what I'm saying.
It's the same bracket.
Screws aren't working. Screws aren't working.
No, there's no dice on those screws.
There's no dice on those screws. Those are diceless screws.
Well, that one's going in. Well, why would that one go in, but the other ones wouldn't?
Oh, that one's going in?
Yeah.
Well, that's weird. Can you get at least like 3 of them in?
Look at that. That one's in. So is it just that the...
Is it just that one?
I wonder if the bracket's just coming off. Because the bracket's glued on with like a 3M, you know, super crazy glue stuff.
Yeah.
So to talk a little bit about, last time I was trying some tutorials to try some free like bootloaders to basically emulate what OS X needs, which is an EFI, not a BIOS, it's a replacement for a traditional BIOS. And it's something created by Intel. It's called the Efi something or other. Oh my gosh.
That just came right off.
We could not get this off before. Like, I think the 3 of us tried to rip this thing off.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know
it
what?
was hard on there. The heat over time melted it off.
That's what it was. Well, we got a new one.
Well, thank God.
We literally, before this machine booted, before we were able to get it boot, we all tried.
It's kind of funny.
Like
oh my God, there's so much crap on my hands now.
We tried so hard to get this thing to come off. Remember how hard we tried?
I'm gonna grab paper towels.
And now just after running for a little while.
We're cranking on it with like needle nose.
See, what doesn't matter is because once you have it installed, you screw it in. So it doesn't matter if the tape doesn't hold. The tape's just meant to keep it on there long enough to screw that sucker in.
There's so much poison on my fingers right now.
I know. Well, I'm covered in Arctic silver.
Yeah, that's what I got on me now too.
Lick it off.
So I want to
rub it in my eyes real fast.
I want to talk a little bit about.
People don't know this, but if you have poison on your fingers, quickest way to get to your brain is rub it in your eyes. So, da-na-na-na. All right, do that real quick.
How come I'm not getting this to fit? You want to take a look at that?
All right.
This is a 13.
This is the new one?
Yeah, and where's the old one? Did we already toss? Okay.
They're the same?
This is the wrong bracket.
Is this the new one?
That's the new one.
Is it already stickied and ready?
Yeah.
Oh, shoot. All right.
At least I think this is the right.
That's the wrong size.
Is that the wrong size?
It's the wrong size.
Is it?
Yeah, that's not going to fit.
All right, well, let's take the tape off that one and put it on this one.
It's the wrong size. Oh, okay, yeah, that'll work.
We just need to get it on there, or hell, I could even hold it in place.
That's true. We can actually just hold it.
Why don't I do that?
That's
All
fine.
right, I'll do that.
There are 2 of you.
The more you know. All right, we got to put the heat. Wait. We got to get the heat sink on, and then the screws got to go on.
Yeah, that's true. See?
This is going to get complicated. All right, let's do the tape.
You need 3 people.
Wow, they're almost already stuck. It's almost just kind of sticking.
All right, well let's do it this way. Okay. Is it possible to lay it down?
Yeah, I think
and
so.
then you hold it from the bottom?
Let's find out.
All right.
So, all right. So what I was. Oh, how about this?
That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
Yeah, over the side here.
Okay. And see, does it matter which direction it goes on? This is good.
That's good, because I'll just put the fan on whichever side. So what I did, I wasn't able to get any of the tutorial bootloaders to work. Now, part of that was just because I didn't have a ton of time to mess with it. I really wanted something that I could get up and working with right away, because this whole point of this machine is to save me time in editing. And if I have to spend 2 days getting it working,
It's less fun.
It's not as I'm not saving as much time. So
It's less fun.
I tried 2 different
man.
products. I tried 2 different commercial products. Actually, that's staying, so I'm going to grab this. Now I'll go back. I tried this Efi X version 1.1. So I've talked about the Efi X bootloader before, and what this is it's a complicated little compact flash EFI environment. It emulates a EFI chip on the motherboard, and it plugs into your USB header on your motherboard. It's not a regular USB port. It has to plug into like a header where your case USB will plug into, and it boots. Your system boots off this. It looks like a USB hard drive to your BIOS. You boot off this, and then you theoretically select the OS. This contains all of the drivers for OS X for your system, is the theory. I was unable to get the Efi X version 1.1 to boot my system. I don't know if I had my BIOS settings wrong. I followed the manual. I wasn't able to get it to work. So the Efi X version 1.1 did not work for me. What did work for me, however, is Psystar? How do you say their name?
Psystar?
Psystar?
Yeah.
Those guys that are making the Mac clones that just got the massive smackdown by Apple.
We sure as hell
They
did.
make a product called Rebel EFI. Now, there's some controversy around the Rebel EFI product because some people say it's using stolen open source code under the ASDL license. And I don't know. I know they do contribute back some open source code. I don't know what that whole legality situation is, so that's something to think about. It costs $40, so there are ways to do this for free, so consider that when you're buying the Rebel EFI. I mean, it's definitely cheaper than the Efi X, which is like $130 or something, $140. So $40, you basically get a ISO file that you download and burn to a CD, really small, 40 megabyte ISO image. You burn it to a CD, you put it in the computer's CD-ROM drive, and you boot off of that, and then it says insert the OS X installer DVD. You put in the OS X Snow Leopard DVD from the store that you buy. It boots that up, installs the OS. Then you put the Rebel EFI CD back in again to boot off of. It starts up, detects that OS X is installed on the hard drive. It does basically a scan of all of the hard drives in your system. And then it says, hey, would you like to boot this OS X install? You select that. Once you're in my situation, I had very plain vanilla OS X, no 3D graphics, no sound. I think I had Ethernet, real basic. With the Rebel EFI boot CD still in my drive, it now mounts on the desktop, and there's an installer package. You run that installer package, and it installs a system preference pane. You go into system preferences, run that sucker. After you authorize it, you do have to have an activation code. After you authorize it, it activates, installs all of the drivers if you have a supported system. So for me, it was everything. 3D driver, sound, everything. Got installed, reboot. I now have a fully functioning system. My understanding is the Rebel, what's the matter? What happened?
Yay! Screw lost.
This might be a little magnetized.
Oh
yeah, look at that!
Yeah, you go.
The spring did me in.
Come on, I got. All right.
The Rebel EFI utility installs. My understanding is, at least, it installs a little small partition or some hidden files on your hard drive. All right. Okay. So that seems like that would be bad, because if you wanted to format and reinstall, or at least reinstall, I don't know about a format.
Thank you, Jeremy.
There you go. Nice done.
Thank you.
Nicely done. I did a little bulletproof testing. Check this out. For the Rebel EFI, I wiped and reloaded the OS, and the Rebel EFI was still installed on the hard drive and still booted OS X. And
Really?
I installed OS X 6.0, right? Went out for grins, got the OS X 6.1 update, installed that, rebooted, no problem.
For grins?
Went out, got the OS X 6.2 update, installed that, rebooted, no problem. I've been able to do every system update with no problems using the Rebel EFI. And the other thing it does, like I mentioned, it scans the hard drives that boot up. So if you slide a Windows or Linux hard drive in the system, it does need to be on a separate hard drive, I think. I don't think it can be partitions. But if you slide, but hard drives are cheap. You slide one of those, you slide an OS drive in here, the Rebel EFI will detect it, and it gives a little Windows or Linux icon, and it'll act as your bootloader, and you can boot between any of those hard drives. So I can have, this one box can try-boot OS X, Windows, and Linux. Windows 7, Ubuntu, whatever you want, you got it, no problem.
Somebody in the chat room has given us an alternative called Empire EFI that might work as well.
I've never heard of Empire. So Jeremy was just saying that somebody in the chat room mentioned there's a program called Empire EFI. I've never heard of it, but it might be. You saying it's kind of like the Rebel EFI?
Yeah, but it's entirely open source.
Oh, I get it. See, Rebel, Empire, Star Wars.
Oh, hey, Chris.
Also got
You might have to pull this out.
thing on there.
Oh yeah, no, it's fine.
Okay.
It's just this is the most annoying thing about this Gigabyte board is these newer motherboards have this extra. They got this extra power cord and they put it right there. It's so freaking annoying. I was bitching about that last.
Does it have a clip on there?
Yeah, it's on this side, on the side closer to me. So I did some benchmarking. My goal here, Core i7 processor, 920, right now running at 2.8 gigahertz, but the plan is to run it, closer to 4 gigahertz down the road. So I did a little benchmarking. And what I found is right now running at 2.8 gigahertz with 12 gigs of RAM, and the RAM not even up. This RAM is designed to go to 1600 megahertz speed. Right now it's running around 1400. So I haven't optimized this system yet, but my plan is to crank this sucker up with this new heatsink on here and see what I can get. But I did a little early benchmarking. I used a tool called Xbench. It's kind of like the universal Mac benchmarker because it runs on PowerPC Macs, it runs on Intel Macs, and you can submit your results to their online site and compare against everybody else that has done their Mac benchmarking. So then you kind of know where your system rates. So I ran the Xbench on this sucker, and I basically benchmarked right around a mid-range Mac Pro tower. Now, think about that. A baseline Mac Pro tower costs $2,500, right?
Yeah.
$2,500 is the entry-level Mac Pro. This sucker shows up as an 8-core machine, thanks to hyperthreading, 12 gigs of RAM. I've got 4 hard drives in here, 3 of which are in a RAID 0. Nice NVIDIA graphics card that I don't even think Apple offers.
Nope.
And I think I'm sitting my total cost before software is right around $850, $900.
It's really not bad.
That's crazy. And I'm benchmarking at a mid-range. So if the base entry level is $2,500 and I'm benchmarking at mid-range, and I haven't even overclocked yet.
At like a third of the price.
Yeah, at a third of the price. And when I crank this thing up to 4 gigahertz and get the RAM running at full speed, I'm probably going to benchmark even higher.
Probably.
And then if I throw like an SSD in this thing or something like that, what's up?
Oh my goodness.
It's going to be crazy.
It's going to be up into business.
But
that is going to be the...
But we do not recommend you do this.
Here in the business. It's up here. He's right now. He's going to reach up
The
in
business up here.
He's going to, this is the stuff up in the
Up
business.
there.
No idea what any of that means, by the way.
Plus, with the Rebel Efi bootloader or any open source bootloader you might find, being able to, I essentially get like boot camp like functionality. I can boot Windows, Mac, or Linux.
Boot camp-like functionality. I like that's what we call it now. We don't just call it like dual booting and tri-booting.
Tri-booting.
Like has
Well, I'm
existed
just comparing to like the Mac
for
world.
like 75,000
Right.
years. Every computer's been able to do this, but it's boot camp-like functionality. What we're really doing is we're really copying
Yeah.
Apple's ability
No, I'm
to boot
I'm
multiple
giving it the Mac
operating
equivalent.
systems.
It's the Mac. Oh, here's another thing. It's just a small thing, but in a pro like tower setting, it's kind of nice. So the Gigabyte motherboard here has like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 SATA connections.
That's nice.
So I can have like 6 internal drives and maybe 2 external eSATA drives. That's, the Mac Pro Max is at 4. So I have double the hard drive capacity of the Mac Pro. Now this case, you can't really see it. This case has side mounting drives. They slide into the side, so it joom, 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 just like cartridges, like you slide them in there.
I think there's a joom, 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 joom.
Joom, 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 joom.
There's 4 jooms. Plus
I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. No, 4. That's for like a memory card reader. I've got 4 5 1/4 bays for like multiple DVD-ROM bays or whatever I want.
All right, so this guy's screwed in here finally.
Nice. It's looking good.
Literally, why on earth?
The case will barely close.
There are screws underneath.
Yeah.
So literally, there is this much space between the top of the screw and the bottom of the heatsink.
Yeah.
Now there's 2 ways you can do this. One is get like one of those little 90-degree monkey wrenches in there, turn them like that.
Yeah.
But these screws
See,
also
they included
have
this.
These.
That would have helped, huh?
I asked you if you had anything like that.
Yeah. Well, I thought you meant like.
Where's that magnetic screwdriver?
Actually,
again?
I'm really impressed that you actually got it without this. You did a really good job.
Well, make sure it's all tightened up.
No,
with
you
your
did
stupid little.
You did a really good job, dude. Well done.
Unappreciated.
I don't know. Let's see how this will show up for the camera. But does this show up in the frame, Jeremy?
Yes.
All right. So you can kind of see it in there now, and you can see the drive bays. This is the actual orientation of the case, and here's the front of the case.
This is the front.
It's tiny.
It's actually, it's a pretty good case for. I think I got it for $90, $85 is what I paid for it. My other
wait,
case.
don't forget to put your RAM back in.
Oh yeah, my other case was like $185, bigger, little nicer, but and it has a slide out motherboard tray. I like that.
I like that.
All right, so let's install that RAM, and then we'll put the fan on.
Right.
So, like I said, I've been running this for about how long since? About 2 weeks.
2.5 maybe.
Run it for 2 weeks. I've noticed, not since I updated to OS 10.6.2, but before I updated to OS 10.6.2, I had some sort of performance issue with my main system drive. Like there was some sort of SATA driver issue, which seemed to correct itself when I updated to OS 10.6.2. So I don't know what's up with that. But going from editing on a MacBook Pro, going to this, say like a green screen render for an episode of Stoked, went from 24 hours to about 10 to 12 hours.
That's a big
so
difference.
it's a really nice bump. And having 8 cores, going from a 2-core system to an 8-core system.
Still ridiculous, though.
Yeah.
That still takes a long time.
Yeah. Well, it's an hour-long composite. Basically.
I know. It's just so long.
So there she goes, and then, so that big heatsink can go fanless, but because I'm overclocking, I'm gonna throw this fan onto it. the correct direction.
Now, should it be that way?
Yeah, yeah. See, it has little arrows that say, it goes that direction.
Okay, I gotcha.
So I figure this will blow towards me, and then I have an exhaust fan on the back of the case.
Don't you want to suck from outside of it?
I'm sucking from the front, and I'm blowing out the back.
All right.
Because these go this way.
I'm with you.
This also has a fan up here on top that vents up. So.
There's a lot of fans around that CPU.
Yeah, yeah. Well, these systems, you know, jeez, they run hot. It's like, hey guys, could you make it run a little cooler? Hey guys. So the biggest obstacle with building a Hackintosh is definitely the video card.
Yeah.
And then if you go, you know, you've been looking at laptops. You want to talk about that at all?
Yeah, you really just can't do it.
Yeah, I mean, because like the Wi-Fi chipset.
You know, it's kind of amazing. I mean, you know, they've got the netbooks. Everyone talks about Hackintoshing every netbook that ever comes out. And there's grids and charts of compatibility issues and everything else. But for just normal laptops, what amazes me is there's just no information on that really whatsoever. I mean, there's a little bit of details on like what Wi-Fi chipsets will possibly work, but there's no like blessed notebook models that aren't netbooks to actually run OS X.
So,
which is weird for me, being as you can buy like a $600 you know HP or Asus laptop that will run circles around even the entry and mid-level Mac Pros. But
MacBook Pros.
The MacBook Pros.
Mac, or
yeah.
some of them maybe. Some of those Core i. Well, I guess those Mac Pros are Core i7s technically.
Well, there's the thing. So you can get like an Acer i7 laptop, an i7 laptop for under $1,000.
Yeah, with a nice 16-inch screen too.
Under
right? Didn't it have like a big screen?
Yeah, there's one with like an 18-inch screen for like $1,200. And better NVIDIA graphics cards, performance-wise, than what you can get in the Mac Pro line from Apple. So really, you can actually get something that's significantly better than anything Apple offers for less than the cost of a cheap MacBook.
Well, see, and Apple does this every time. They come out with the MacBook, and it has like the best video graphics card of the laptop of that generation. But then the laptop sits around for 9 months, and in 9 months,
it's not just 9 months. I mean, like. When they come out with like an updated like MacBook Pro, it'll sit around with that same graphics card for 2 or 3 years.
Oh, sometimes, yeah.
I mean, like the current ones are old.
It's
just dreadfully
it's just
old.
Like the thing is, all the other manufacturers just rev their products more often.
Yeah.
And so they quickly become out of date. So then you're looking at spending that money, and if you're gonna, you know, if OS X isn't going to be your primary, if it's just something you need to accomplish a task,
it's way too much money.
It's too much money.
Yeah. Yeah,
and
but what amazes me is people are really more interested in building the desktops and having the netbooks.
Well,
that's really where people
and in Apple's sales, the laptops
are doing well.
They outsell everything else.
Yeah.
So, all right. So there we go. So we have got just to recap a Core i7 machine. Rands, you want to throw up the spec list one more time? It's a Core i7 machine with a good amount of memory in it, and oh yeah, let's put that. Oh, we did. Jeez. Good amount of memory in it, and been running great. Rebel EFI is the bootloader I use. Right now, I'm saying no on the Efi X. I might have had a bad unit, possibly, but for the money and my experience. Also, I think I noticed some people that were in their forums. First of all, in order to get in their forums, you have to be an official customer. Like, you have to put in your serial number. So you can't go, like, get into all the forums and do some exploring without without
so
buying.
You can't see the problems people are having unless
Drobo
you buy
does
it.
that too, which drives me crazy.
That just doesn't even make sense to me.
So that's a little weird. Plus, somebody was in there complaining about it not working, and they banned them. They got
no.
Yeah, the person got banned.
No.
Yeah, the guy was like, if you make one more comment, I'm going to ban you. And the guy's like, one more comment, I'm just trying to get help. Boom. Account was banned right then and there.
Dude.
Yeah.
Not
so
cool.
I don't know what's. Maybe there was a previous history with that user. Who knows?
Maybe, but still, that's kind of weird.
It is a little weird. So I'm saying not so much on the Efi X. Plus, I like the concept, but I really actually like the idea of something separate of my hard drive that contains everything in there I need.
Yep.
But you're going to accept some sort of risk. First of all, you need to, you know, there's still ongoing debate on the legality of it, so you need to look into that. There's always the possibility that OS 10.6.3 could come out and this machine will not be able to run it.
Yeah.
For me, it's just a tool to do one particular task. That's not an important thing. If it was my main desktop, not being able to install system updates would be a problem if it was my desktop. But for this, no. I don't really care. So I think, kind of in recap, that's it. And if you have any questions, you can hit me up on the Jupiter Colony forum at jupitercolony.com or on Twitter, twitter.com/ChrisLAS.
It's amazing.
And he's twitter.com/Brian Lunduke.
That's what I am.
All right, there you have it. See, where's this plug at here?